Global War 36 Enthusiast here with Operation Thunderball, filling in for Silk on turn 1.4, Japan. It is July 1936. Japan has one tech rule for improved construction. Silk needs a 7 or higher, and PBA generated a 9. So Japan advances to stage 1 on improved construction. To my opponents, if you're not used to the PBE, look in your junk or spam folder and you should see the results generated from the server. Purchases. Japan has 16 IPP to spend, 2 Marines for 8, upgrade 1 infantry to a militia for 2, that's 10, and upgrade 1 medium factory in Kyushu to a major factory for 6, that's 16. Combat movement and combat phase, there is none this turn. Let's see if I can get a good spot to show most of Japan here. I think this shows most of the units and the movement. Okay, so the first thing is that every surface ship is going to move to P15. Down here in P46, that means that a heavy cruiser is going to move up to P15. I have a similar problem like Hambone with the 4x8 foot map. I gotta walk around. Okay, let's see. A battle cruiser, a heavy cruiser from P16 and a torpedo boat destroyer P16 will move into P15. A destroyer in P32, a destroyer moves to P15. And then a light cruiser, and in P14, a light cruiser and a heavy cruiser will move over to P15. So Silk has divided his task forces in P15 into 2 different task forces. One of them, for me, I've got it as this guy right here. One of them has 2 battleships, 1 battle cruiser, 4 heavy cruisers, and 2 light cruisers. The other one, I've got it as the naval flag there, right now it has a tactical bomber and 2 fighters, a fleet carrier, a light carrier, 3 destroyers, and 2 torpedo boat destroyers. I'm going through this in case Didier is trying to follow us on TTS or something like that. Okay, so I do believe I moved all the... He says all the surface ships, but he doesn't mean... no, I guess he does mean... Yeah, he doesn't mean all his naval transports, because he's got orders for those come up a little bit later. All right, from P14, 1 coastal submarine moves to P32. Let's see, P14 to P32. So it's really good to help your opponents out by, if you're playing a YouTube war, by going through this order where you say where you're coming from, what the unit is, and then where it's going to, because that's the way our brains work. We look for where's the P14 C zone? Okay, what unit needs to be taken from there, and then we move it to the other place. So from P16, 1 coastal sub moves to P15. From P15, 2 submarines move to P42. From P46, 1 submarine moves to P42. I don't know if you can catch, if this is even on screen. Let's see, because I'm going from the other side of the map. No, P42 is not, but hopefully my opponents will not have a problem moving to the sea zone east of the Philippine Islands. There's 3 submarines sitting there. From eastern Manchuria, 2 infantry and 1 cavalry move to northern Manchuria. This is just like Silk. Sina a treaty with you, get you to lower your guard there, Boston Bruce, and then he just moves units to the border. I tell you, we really can't trust these fascists. From Rihe, 2 infantry move to eastern Manchuria. So from Rihe, 2 infantry move over here to eastern Manchuria. Very aggressive, I just don't trust him. From Korea, 1 infantry moves to eastern Manchuria. So that's another guy up here. From Formosa, 1 fighter flies to eastern Manchuria. 1, 2, 3, 4. From P-15, the 2 fighters and the tactical bomber I mentioned earlier, they fly to northern Manchuria. So 1, 2, 3. All 3 of those planes are in northern Manchuria. Okay, from Tokyo, 1 fighter and 2 tactical bombers fly to eastern Manchuria. In P-16, 1 naval transport picks up an infantry from Tokyo and an infantry from Hokkaido, moves to P-14, 1, 2, and drops them off in Rihe. In P-15, 1 of these naval transports picks up 1 infantry from Kyushu and 1 motorized infantry from Honshu, moves over to P-14 and drops them off in Rihe. From P-32, 1 naval transport moves to P-15. Placement of units. So the 2 Marines get placed in Kyushu. This medium factory gets upgraded in Kyushu, gets upgraded to a major factory. And then in northern Manchuria, 1 militia gets upgraded to an infantry. So we'll chip that out. This 1 militia in northern Manchuria gets turned into another infantry there. Now we have controlled minor recruitment roles. Note that Siam is currently controlled by Japan. This is something slightly different in version 4. Japan gets recruitment roles for Siam until they join the Japanese in January of 1939. So there's a 1/12th chance of success in recruiting there in Siam. Silk needs a 1, and PBE generated a 2. So close, Silk. But Japan fails its recruitment role in Siam. Japan collects 16 at the end of the turn. And next up will be Hambone with Commonwealth, the Commonwealth 1.5.